can tell lies with the best.
Robert Morris head coach Bernard Clark Jr. The team is coming off its open date. They will be in action this week. They're going to host Tennessee Tech in a conference game. That's the first of 4 straight to close the season conference wise for them. So, Coach, just thoughts on your team, and we'll go to some questions.
Thoughts on our team is we needed the bye week. It's probably the best way to put it. I mean, we got a lot of guys. Not only did the players need it, but the coaches needed it also. So going in, we didn't do anything Saturday or Sunday, just kind of made sure guys relaxed, got treatment if they were hurt, and all those other things. We were able to get some guys back. We had a lot of guys injured. So we finished the Bryant game with with 2 redshirt freshmen playing safety. So that's what we finished the Bryant game with, because 4 of our safeties went down. 2 went down during the game and 2 went down before the game. And so it's one of those situations we get our starting center back. So it was good to have a bye week at the time we did, because we're getting a lot of guys back that we feel like can help us.
The obvious question here: how is their mental health status change when they get that time to really rest their bodies and then refocus on what's left of the season?
I think it's been good. I always have a word of the week for our guys. We call it a while. And the while this week was transition. We're transitioning from a 2-5 beginning of our season to an opportunity to finish up strong with 4 games. So I want to make sure we make that transition smooth. The transition from coming from a bye week into a week that's going to be loaded with a team that's extremely good. Tennessee Tech poses a lot of problems. The biggest problem they pose, their D-line is unbelievable. It's probably one of the better D-lines in our conference, probably one of the better D-lines we've saw all year, and these guys are pretty daggum good. They play hard, they get out, and they have 2 running backs that are just outstanding. So, and they're about the same even matchup as we are. I was telling the guys yesterday, they're 2-5, we're 2-5. They're averaging 299 yards a game, we're averaging 331 yards a game. So there's a lot of coincidences when it comes to both of our teams and what we're doing. We're really kind of parallel to each other, the struggles that we're having right now.
Now, I know on the open dates, generally, the coaches say we're going to work on ourselves, but how does it help you get a little bit of advantage on a team that hasn't played, at least in your prep work, looking to see what they do on film?
Well, it plays a little bit. There's no doubt about it. But most coaches say that, and it's true, to be honest with you, Kyle. It's a situation where you're trying to base everything on what fundamentals are you doing right, what techniques are you doing right. You go back and you self-scout the games you played before and see where you're going wrong at. And as you know, our biggest thing has been our discipline when it comes to being offsides, being illegal motion, illegal formation, whatever. So those are the things that we really concentrate on and make sure we're trying to make those transitions that we need to make in order to get where we need to be at, and working on our tackling, on defense, and make sure our guys are doing the things and taking the proper angles. It's not so much the tackles that are hurting, it's just the proper angles and not taking the right angles to get there. So we've been working on that a lot. So we did that a lot. But again, this team poses a lot of threats for us in a lot of situations, especially when it comes to tackling. Like I said, with those 2 running backs, it's a situation we've got to take the proper angles. And not only that, these guys run hard. They run well behind their pads. They do a great job of getting downhill. And so we got to make sure we're wrapping these guys up in gang tackling. Can't have one guy trying to tackle these guys.
At this point of the season, tendencies is a word people use, but how many tendencies is your team exactly the same? Do you have new wrinkles you're still putting in? How does that work? Like when teams are trying to scout you, is Robert Morris what it is right now, or are you still evolving?
Well, we have more wrinkles because of the fact we have so many injuries. We literally have not played the same offensive line since we started the year at Air Force. So we've had to change up things. So we've had to change up things for our team. And the thing is, I was telling someone earlier, the crazy thing about I watch the University of Miami. I always tell people there's 2 teams I watch. I watch the one that pays my bills, Robert Morris, and I watch the University of Miami. So in watching the University of Miami last week, I'm watching them, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, what are they doing? Why are they slowing it down? Why are they doing this? They're doing what's best for their team. So what we did this past week in our bye week, we put some things together as far as the things that we've done with self-scouting and some things we're going to do coming forward. What's best for our team? I mean, what do we do well? Do we run fast-paced well? Do we slow it down well on offense? Defensively, do we need to do 1 blitz? Do we need to do 3 blitzes? So we're trying to evolve by doing those things, by condensing it so our guys can play faster. And I don't mean fast-paced as in tempo. I mean faster as in mental. As they see things, they see them now, they can get there. So those are the transitions that we're trying to make. So to answer your question, those are the tendencies that we're trying to bring together because we've had so many different positions that have been hurt here, hurt there. We have so many different guys on the field. Now we got to bring those guys together and see what they do best.
A little bit more on Tech. They've had some of those injuries too, like a quarterback. They've played a bunch of different people.
Yes.
How do you use that? Like, you don't know who they're going to play, or they have some different packages for him. How does that work out in the scouting process?
Exactly what you just said. It's one of those situations where we've seen they play like 4 different quarterbacks right now. I know that this past week and the week before they started number 5, but as the game went on, they brought in 14 and then they brought in 15 and they played 1 and they played 4. So they played a lot of different quarterbacks back there. So you're just trying to find out. It's hard to key in on what their tendencies are because they've had a different quarterback and the quarterbacks are all different. So that's been probably the toughest part for us. But the staples have been the runs with those running backs. So we know for a fact they're going to try to rally behind their running game because that's where the strength of their team is with their running backs.
Last question, I'll let you go. First home game of the month for you. So just talk about that. And then you got 3 of the last 4 at home. So you'll be on home for a bunch.
Yeah, it's nice to be back at home. It's nice to be back at our home field in front of our fans. And I think the guys are excited about it and they're ready to play. Like you said, and the last 2 trips were so long, going to Gardner Webb and going to Bryant back to back, 2 long trips. And then after that, we got a long one going to SEMO. But it's a situation where we're here, we're at home, we're excited about being back in front of our fans, being at the Joe Walton Stadium, and hopefully competing and doing what we need to do in order to win this football game.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Thanks, Kyle. Let's go, Bobby Moe.